everybody, welcome to Quilling with Jess here on Patreon. I'm so grateful that you've joined, and Happy New Year. This is a new intro just to kick off our 2026 videos. If you've been joining up until now from August, I'm so grateful that you've been here. If you're new, welcome, and our video will start in just a few minutes. I wanted to just give you a little bit of insight as to what this year will look like. Our even months will be the normal kind of videos that we've had in live streams where there's just either a seasonal or fun little activity to do. However, during our odd months, we're going to focus on a specific skill or technique. So for January, we'll be making beads, and probably in the next few odd months there will be spirals and teardrops and things of that nature. And so the whole month will focus on that one technique and the kind of art that you can make specifically focused on that. I hope that that's enjoyable for you all. I hope that you have had a good time thus far learning along with us, and that you'll share over on Instagram and here on Patreon as well how the activities are going, who you give them to, where you display them, if you wear them, like our New Year's earrings, and yeah, happy crafting. All right, welcome back to another day of Quilling with Jess over here on Patreon. I'm so grateful that you are here. And for this February, we are going to be switching things up back to just our normal kind of sticking with seasonal, varied projects. So, last month was all beads all the time. Well, honestly, I apparently really fell in love with making some beads because I have now created this lavender card. And, honestly, I thought about not keeping with the bead theme because I know we did beads all last month, but I just loved it too much to not share it as a cute idea for a Valentine card. I know not every body is all about roses. They're also quite difficult to make with quilling, or daisies or things like that. And so I wanted to just kind of switch it up and have something a little different. So this card is one that I made just the other day, and actually posted it up on my Etsy. So if you don't like how yours comes out, or you decide you're not interested in making it but you still want one, go on over and you can order one of your very own. But for the crafters in the room, we are going to make this today so you can have the adventure of making it all yourself. I am not going to do the full card. I'm more just going to teach you how to make flowers. So I've only brought this little backer that I'm probably going to attach to a card later. So I have a variety of colors here, just a couple different greens, and then my purples. So I'm not going to go through each of those. As always, you can see how many strips you need on the beginning of the video. I will go ahead through the supplies you're going to need. I have some tweezers, especially with these teeny tiny little beads for our lavender. It's nice to have some good needly tweezers. We've got our slotted quilling tool. This is my little narrow one, but whatever kind of slotted quilling tool you have, that will work just fine. Or if you, for a needle quilling tool, you can be amazing and use one of those. I myself have not become proficient in that. You can also have a bottle of school glue. Mine is in a needle nose bottle. I like these because, especially with smaller shapes or more delicate areas for gluing, I can be a bit more precise. However, you can always use a normal glue bottle or make a puddle and use a toothpick or a Q-tip to apply the glue wherever you want. So those are options as well. I will be using as well my clear tacky glue. This is always optional, but especially when I have some of these second layer shapes, it is nice to have the clear tacky glue to get it to stick in a certain angle, but it's not absolutely necessary. So let's go ahead and get started. I am first going to prep my stem because I wanted to have time to dry while we're working on the other things. So I have a full strip here. We're not probably going to end up using a full strip, but for myself personally, I'll always prep a full strip and then save whatever I don't use for another project. So I'm going to fold it in half, and then let's get out there. So I'm just going to move these things for a second. It's just too much going. So I'm going to fold it in half, and then I'm going to apply a strip of glue all the way down one half. And the reason we're doing this is to make our stem thick enough that it will stand up, that it will hopefully not look wilted, and that's why we give it time to dry. We just want it to be really firm, especially if you're going to be mailing this. I will give you some tips as well on how to keep your stems from flopping over as we make our card. But the first step to making sure that you don't have a card show up with flat stem, it's still standing up like you had planned, is to make it a double thick strand. So you do that by gluing it together. So we've got that. We'll put it aside and let that dry. Okay. Rub the glue off your fingers. Okay, so now I am going to take my purple. So you can use whatever you like, whatever color you like. Sometimes I'll use a darker purple, sometimes I use light. There are times I'll use maroon as well. That's kind of a nice little switch up. And we're not going to measure out each of these. We're going to count how many times we twist. Now, if you want to measure them out, it is probably an eighth or a little less than an eighth of a strip for each of these, probably less. But I find it most fun to just count them and then tear them off. So you're going to load your strip into your slotted quilling tool. Maybe. Okay, you're going to load it in, and you're going to put your finger on the bottom and your thumb on the side, and this gives you a nice little wedge to hold the paper. So that way when you start twisting it towards yourself, it's going to stay exactly where you want it. And especially for this purpose, it's going to be tight in there because we're making tight coils today. So you want to be sure that it's not going to just fall out. All right. So we've already wrapped it around one time, and we're going to go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we're going to kind of make sure that that's nice and tight there. And we're going to tear it. And we're not going to take it off our hook, but we are going to take our school glue and put a little dot of glue at the end. And then wrap it closed. And in the same moment, then you're going to twist it between your fingers. And the reason you want to do that, the reason I do that, is it squishes the glue out and wraps it around. So it just makes this shape and your design that much more sturdy. So then you're going to locate the slot on your tool and you're going to push up and pull off. So that way it doesn't get stuck in your tool. Now this looks pretty decent, but I want to be sure that all the layers are flat. So I'm going to put it in there and just squish it down, make sure that it is a nice even bead. So there's one. Now you can make as many of these as you like. If we go in and we count how many I put on mine, there's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So there are 17 here, and then we'll talk about this one later. So let's plan to do 17. Is that right? 16 or 17, somewhere around there. And then we'll kind of come back. So remember, we're going to do this and wrap it around 6 times. So get it loaded. Go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can also feel free, and what I'll do, probably for the top ones, is to do maybe 4 or 5 turns. So you don't have to do them all completely even either. That kind of helps make it look a little bit more natural, a little less staged or perfect. But if you want them to look very even and uniform, absolutely do that too. So make it your own. Use, as many colors as you like, or totally different colors. Oops, did not get fully glued. Now that we've got those all made, let's go ahead and start organizing some things. So I'm not gonna make these today unless they're necessary for aesthetic things, but basically know that it's more strips for this darker purple one, and then just a couple more of those. So it's more of the same, just different sizes. So I'm not going to do those today unless they're necessary. The purpose for this tutorial is really just to teach the lavender. Nice little short, simple instructions. So add or subtract as many of these arms, honestly, as you want. But for me today, I'm just going to do one little stem, something simple, something you could just even have, like, if you want to make multiples of these and frame them, super simple, super adorable design. That might actually be what I end up doing with this. I will post it on Instagram in a few weeks if that is what I decide to do, but you never know. All right, so now is when you want to start deciding, okay, how is this going to lay? Do I want it to be straight? Do I want it to be curved? I'm going to try to make it a little bit straighter. So you just kind of, like you would for Christmas ribbon, just run it through your fingers a few times just to kind of straighten it as much as you like. Let's see. That's a decent shape. Let's see if we can make it just a little straighter. No, now we're just making more curved. Okay, let's see. I think that's going to be okay, and I'm going to want it about that tall. So once you figure out exactly how long you want it, then we're going to tear it off and just lay it down there. See if that's about what we want, and I think that's about what I'm wanting. Now this is a perfect time to use that clear tacky glue to glue this down, but if you only have school glue, that is fine as well. So what I like to do is I like to pick mine up with my tweezers, and then this is called edge quilling. So we're going to glue this edge to the paper instead of the flat side. So, all right, so we're gonna do glue down the edge, and try not to put too much glue because you don't want it to squish out a ton, but also be sure that there's enough going down that it's going to stick down. So it's kind of that fine balancing act. All right. Now, be sure to, I'll set this aside for a second. Be sure to take your time and set it down exactly where you want it, because once it's down, if you pick it back up, you can move it, but it's going to look like you moved it. So here we go. We're gonna just give that a second. You can try. I like to just set it down, let it kind of congeal for a second, because it's gonna attach on its own, but then if I need to, I can try to balance my tweezers on there just to not squish it. So that's what we're trying to avoid, is flattening it. So try to set your tweezers at an angle where it might just kind of hold it there for a second. While we're letting that settle, let's go ahead and we want to make some leaves. So I brought out a little bit lighter color green, and then I'm also going to have my darker green for a few leaves. And I'm going to make as many as I like. But here on the card, you can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 leaves. And I like to have an option to have some of them up near the top just for aesthetic, but these ones at the bottom are the most important. So you've seen how difficult it is to kind of get this to stay standing where I want it. These leaves are what we're needing to kind of come in and save the day. So we're going to make at least 2 for the bottom to go on either side of the stem, and then you can make as many more going up as you like. Each of these little leaves is a half to a quarter of a strip, so depending on how big you want your leaf. So I will demonstrate both sizes. So let's see. So we're going to take our strip. We're going to quill it just the same way as before, all the way to the bottom, but we are going to take it off. Now, you can use a circle sizer for this if you like, but I personally am just gonna, I want them to be kind of mismatched in different sizes, so I'm just gonna open it up as far as I like with my fingers, and then I'm gonna glue that shut. And this is what's called a loose coil. So I told you all those purple ones were called tight coils. This is a loose coil, and the reason for that is exactly why it seems like. It's because you loosen it up, you open it up, so it's a loose coil. So we've got that glue. We're going to close it, and then we're going to pinch both sides. Now you can decide if you want them evenly pinched. I like to do a little bit longer on one side than another, but you'll just pinch between your fingers. Doesn't have to be perfect, just has to be a nice little shape to put down there at the bottom. So this is the bottom here. I've got it upside down for a second. So we're gonna go ahead and start getting these glued down there soon so that this stem will start staying here. All right, so let's do another one of these. And this is a quarter strip. So this is going to show kind of the difference in size. These will just be a little bit smaller. So do the same thing. Open that up as far as you like. And you can make these really loose if you want, or you can make them kind of little tight ones, whatever you like to use. So remember, we're going to pinch and pinch. And there is the regular one. So you kind of see the size difference for those. All right. So I think for the bottom, I'm going to do 2 half strips and then maybe a couple quarter strips coming up, and then do some smaller ones at the top. So let's go ahead and turn this around. I think we're getting a little bit more solid there. See, it just needs time. So that's why we like to prep a lot of these things while we work on something else, because a lot of quilling is patience and time. Alright, so now that I've got those 2 bottom ones done, I am going to go ahead and glue them on there so they can start doing that work of holding the stem together. So I'm going to do a strip of glue down the bottom, just 1 strip, and then a tiny little dot on the inside corner. The reason for that is I want it to really hold onto the stem. I don't want it to just sit next to it. So I'll set that down there. And there you go. There's one. And we'll do the other one. And we'll do it just the same on the opposite side. And then you can, if you really want them to kind of stick together, you can kind of try to push them in so that way they're not floating away from each other. Clean up that glue. Alright, so let's keep going. I'm going to add my little quarter strip one. I think I'm going to piece these out first before I glue them down just so I know how many of them I want to make. So this is, if you're new to my videos or if you're returning, but maybe I haven't mentioned it before in a video you've seen, I like to bring you these designs, but I really like to make them free-flowing, a little bit more open for creative perspective. So I want you to learn the techniques and get a good idea of something to make, but I want you to make it your own, make it special, make it unique. And I do that in my in-person classes as well, especially because I'll bring all of my packets of colors for the express purpose that nobody leaves with theirs looking exactly like the example. Now, if you want to come to class and you want you want your project to look exactly like, sorry, I got distracted. There was a momentary whiteout in my backyard. If you want to come to a class or do one of these projects and have it look exactly like mine, I'm not going to say you can't, but really the purpose for these classes, for these videos, is to inspire you to be the artist and to make something that you might like for yourself. I'm going to make a couple more, I think, for this bottom, and then I'm going to start organizing these purples. I know that's what you're all excited about and waiting for. So let's organize these. I hope these videos are enjoyable for you. I would really love any kind of feedback or requests or ideas that you might have because, yeah, I do kind of, ooh, these are a little smaller. I do kind of come up with these, on my own and go based off of any feedback I've gotten in the past. So if you let me know that there's something that you want to make or a holiday that you really like to celebrate and you'd love to have some new decoration or card or earrings for it, let me know. I will absolutely include just about any ideas that you come up with, or within reason, obviously. Like, it is a family-friendly channel, so I do want to maintain being family-friendly, but all right. So yeah, I think I'm gonna stick with these. I really like those. Somehow these little dark ones came out a little bit smaller. I think maybe just the strip was a little shorter than I thought it was. So let's go ahead and glue those on. And feel free to make more leaves for up at the top. I may, but we're gonna see how things work out. Now we have come to the top of the project, and the best part of this is there's no wrong way to glue these on, as long as there's glue on them. But the thing that may maybe be frustrating is like just trying to determine where exactly you're gonna want them all to be. So when I did this one, I don't know if you can really see very easily, but the bottom section here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that are at the top on either side, just flat as kind of a base. And so that's what I'm going to do again this time. So start out however you like, but I like to do that kind of the same reason as these green ones, as the leaves, is to have kind of an anchor support for this stem. So I did put a little glue on the inside again, like with the last ones. You can't tell the box, it's really trying to bend over, but it is there. And so then I just go on either side, back and forth, gluing them up. So this time, this one will go on the left side, and I'll push it against the other one that I glued. So then, see, then they help that really to stand up. Okay, let's find this is a good one. I want these bottom ones to all be pretty uniform because they're acting as a support for the rest. So I know I told you, like feel free to make them different sizes or whatever. If you have 6 or 4 or however many that are very similar to each other and could act as like a very firm base, that's what I would recommend putting here. So, all right. So there's 5, and we'll do one more. All right, so you have to kind of push them together, make sure that they're going to try to stay. This whole situation is trying to angle to the side. I don't know if you can see. It's trying to like head that way. So we'll do our best, but our best is all we can do. Sometimes imperfections happen. Okay, so now is when we're just going to start kind of angling them wherever we like. You can piece them out ahead of time if you want, just to kind of get an idea of where things are going to go. I liked the idea of the top kind of curving, so maybe since it's trying to lean this way, I'll have the blossoms kind of lean in that way. So I go one, maybe I'll do another one out here, even though he doesn't want to stand out. Let's go with that one, and then like a thin one out here, and then just start kind of piling them as I go. Alright, so we're gonna do our top ones. I'll just glue them on the side because I want them to lay there. You can like make these go either which way, however you like. You can make this much bigger too if you want to make more beads and make it fuller. This is just for simplicity and aesthetic. I'm not gonna go all crazy wild with a ton of these. Alright, I'm gonna put this one, I think, on a bottom because for some reason it chose to open up and it doesn't look the same as the others, so try to hide him a little. I'll put him right there. So this is the reason that I like this clear tacky glue. So now I can start gluing these shapes at odd angles. And if I give it enough time, this odd angle is going to dry just fine. Now school glue will also do that, but it's just going to take longer. And, oh, try not to do that because then you're going to have that glue mark. So school glue will do this as well, but it will be more of a headache. It may not stay quite at such severe angles. So if you have clear tacky glue, that is definitely going to be a benefit for you. Okay. So there you have another little curve. This time it's going the opposite way. Actually, it's a little longer and not, or a little farther away instead of going straight down. So I kind of like the variation. So make it your own. Kind of play around with these, push them around. Just lay them wherever you think looks the best, and it'll never look the same twice. So I am going to go ahead and add a few more leaves. I think both of these I'm going to do half leaves at the top, half strip leaves, just to give it a little bit more because it's very simple, which is fine. But sometimes, oh god, sometimes you just want it to be a little bit fuller. And also adding these leaves is going to, like I said before, give it just a little bit more of that sturdiness. And for something this delicate, you really kind of need that. So let's add in both these leaves. I'm going to make them both up first, and then I'll go down. Okay, so we've got our 2 leaves. Check them out. Oh yeah, and I think I'm gonna like kind of alter them a little. Instead of having them just right together, I think having them scattered is gonna be really cool. Sweet. Awesome. I love when a project comes together. This is something I tell my students a lot in class because it can be like, I think, oh goodness, I think coming to a quilling class in general, if you're like looking at the design online that I'm going to be teaching, it can maybe sometimes look a little intimidating, especially if you're not really, you don't consider yourself a super crafty person, or you've, like me, taken a sip and paint class and you're like, my painting did not look anything like what they made. Uh, it can be intimidating to like put yourself out there. I want you to just know, like, I see that, I totally get that. And that's why I teach my classes the way that I do. Like, you could absolutely go to any other video, any other instructor, any other class, and everybody's going to leave with theirs looking the exact same and look very well done. And that is absolutely one way to do it. And I really struggled with that when I first started doing classes. But this fun, relaxed, we all get it done and it all looks some form of the example. That's the way that I like to teach. And the reason for that is it just lowers the stress level. Like, who wants to add more stress to their life, especially when they're trying out a new hobby for the first time? So this is my two examples of the same thing. Add as many new stems as you like, add as many little petals as you like, and make it a rainbow color. Make it, whatever you want. Make it enormous or make it, teeny tiny. I just did a whole series of trading card size, so they're like this big and with different heart designs. So make it your own, make it fun, make it imperfect. Just come along and give this a try. I'm so glad that you guys stopped by, whether for the whole video. If you made it all the way to the end, congratulations. I feel like there should be an award sometimes for getting to the end of tutorial videos. And be sure to go over to Instagram at Quilling with Jess. Tag me if you make this, if you make anything else, even if you just liked it and you didn't make it and you don't even have quilling supplies. Go over there and just share. Let's make this community nice and robust and loving and kind and stress-free, low stress. On Patreon, there's a chat window open that's called Look What I Made. So it doesn't have to be this. It doesn't have to be quilling at all. But just share, and somebody's got to start that community over there, and I hope that it's you. Hope that you'll share with us what you're up to. Thank you so much. Happy early Valentine's Day, and happy crafting.